When Fanstoys does a reissue of one of their popular figures, that's a blessing to the community. Blessing to those collectors that decided to pass on it. A blessing to those collectors that started late. A blessing to everyone that wants to get their hands on these figures for sort of close to the original retail price. Now, I've had my own theory about Fanstoys reissues, and I'm going to talk about that coming up. I also want to talk about pricing and why you're seeing the reissues costing more than the original ones. The other thing I want to talk about is availability of these things and more of how they sell out so fast. Why I believe they sell out way faster than a new figure that they're making. And then also, why did they change the way they did business over the last couple of years? We're going to talk about this coming up. First off, I'm going to share my theory again why I think Fanstoys has changed their business practices. Some people feel like Fanstoys produces less, and that's kind of why we see the shift. Some people believe that there's just that many more collectors. I believe that there is a combination of the two, and here's what I think they do when it comes to reissues. I think Fanstoys puts a new figure out. Their newest figure comes out, they produce 6,000. They may put 4,000 out to the market to cover pre-orders and a little bit more. But we're not seeing that little bit more very much these days. I think they put the rest of them back, maybe 2,000 figures, and they store them in a warehouse somewhere. And then they decide when they need the money, when they need to generate some cash to produce a new figure, possibly why, then they just reissue 500 at a time. Now that's been my theory for a while, and everything that's going on play by play looks like that's what's going on. Now I remember watching in 2018 the three of these figures that came out, the Rouge, the Hydra, and the Dracula, and I know I've said this before, but I'm reiterating for the point because of the stuff going on right now. These three figures came out, they were on the shelves for 10 months or a year. Some of them were getting clearanced out. They all got reduced in price. Dracula went from $150 or $130, I think is what the price was where I was getting it, all the way down to about $110. So these things were getting fire sale discounts across the way. A lot of people complained about Rouge. A lot of people complained about Hydra's knees and all of this. But if you're Fanstoys, I'm sure they take this to heart. I know they take their job seriously, or they take this endeavor very seriously, and they don't want to watch their figures get clearanced out, so it makes sense that they would shift this business practice. So let's take a look at Coot. Coot was the first reissue after the world opened back up. Now the figure was originally a $100 figure when it first came out. They got clearance down to $80 or whatever. I got mine for $88 from Baba Bobo on eBay. Probably could have got it cheaper if I knew about their regular site. But the thing is that now they up the price from the standard 100 price to the 130. And so I have my own theories on why the prices went up. But the thing is, wouldn't the price be 150 if they did a whole other production run? The reason I say that is because Outrider. Outrider's going to be a brand new figure out the gate. About the same size as Coot. He might be a little bit taller, but not much. Probably not much more materials going into it. Probably not as complex of a transformation, I hope. But the thing is, did this figure cost $150 when they first announced the price and had pre-orders? No. They canceled the $100 pre-orders. They had all of the third-party distributors cancel that, and then they went up at $150 with the new pre-orders. In some cases, some people got their pre-order canceled, didn't get in at the new pre-order, and are just out. That kind of sucked. But see, that's the thing. That's the difference. It's a $50 price increase versus Coot's $30 price increase. And I know a lot of people say Coot's had a redesign. I don't know. I don't know 100% that Coot got a redesign. I don't know if there's anything different. Looks exactly the same to me. Sovereign M. Sovereign M was originally a $160 figure. Then when he got a reissue, he was reissued at $180. Now, here's why this is important. Because if they're sitting in a warehouse somewhere, then they put another 500 out, there's still going to be costs associated with storing them. So there is going to be a price increase for that. But if they did a whole other production run, the thing would cost more than the 180. They'd be asking the new price point for this size of figure. We all know the new price point for this size of figure. It's $220, just like they're doing with the Berserk. This one here. They canceled all the 150 pre-orders, and then they put them back up at $220. Just like we all know all too well that Thomas was $220. So what tells me if they put a figure out that's $20, $30 more than the original price, and they're doing it in 2020, that it was already stock that's been manufactured. The reason that the new figures that come out cost so much more is because labor's gone up, shipping's gone up, materials have gone up, everything's gone up. But if you already have them sitting there, the only thing that really went up is the shipping, and the cost that you incur is storing them in a warehouse. Case in point, X-Transbots. X-Transbots is trying to sort of mirror the pricing structure of Fanstoys, and there's a big argument and debate on whether they can, whether the quality is worth it, whether the figures are worth it. They're getting better, but are they on Fanstoys level just yet to charge Fanstoys prices? But these guys are the king of reissues, and their product is just flooded the market. They have flooded the market, and I don't think Keith holds anything back. I think they put a whole production run out. They do a reissue. It's a whole other production run, and the quantity that they put out is so high all at once, and they just sit there. And how do I know this? Because just look at them. They're different figures. It's the same figure. It's different. The different paint scheme, different colors of plastic, pretty much everything about the Peon reissue is different. And you can tell it's a whole other production run. It's not like Keith made an extra 5,000 of these back 2 years ago or whenever Peon came out and had them repainted and went with the tune colors and all that. No, that's something they just recently made and put them out. Now the price difference on these. Peon was originally an $80 figure. Now he came out for $130. $50 increase for this size of figure. The Coot was only a $30. That kind of proves it right there. Let's talk about availability. Talk about why do these things sell out so fast? And this kind of goes together. The whole availability and the selling out really fast. So if a reissue figure literally was stock they had in a warehouse and they shipped it out, they put the pre-orders up, 3 or 4 weeks later they're there, I mean, that just sounds way too convenient for me for it to be an actual production run. To have actual issues and delays from actually producing the figures. Nope, they got it ready to go and they ship it out. And that is part of the thing. Imagine 3,500 or 4,000 figures pre-orders. It's real easy to get that. It's 2 months, 3 months that the figure's available to pre-order. But when it comes to only getting, say, 500 between 8 major players, 20 smaller players, 500 figures is going to sell out in minutes across all of those different vendors. Did it cause the pushback with Smokey? Did it cause the pushback Spindrift 2.0? No, it didn't. And that's what I got wrong in my last video talking about Fanstoys reissues. I felt like the reissues were taking up a slot that they could be making a new figure, when in fact it has absolutely nothing to do with it. If they have them in a warehouse, it has nothing to do with their factory time. So that's not an issue at all. And now I see why they do what they do. And it seems like they're doing a lot of reissues since the world reopened. More likely they need the cash so they can go to do another production run. These things are expensive to produce. They're not cheap, and they fund it 100% themselves. So this kind of stuff is very risky, and it requires a lot of cash. And so the way they do business, I kind of commend them. It's really smart to do this and invest your inventory. They're investing in inventory, investing in the future of their own company, and that is smart. So how does this affect you as the consumer, you as the collector, you as someone that wants to get in on one of these reissues? Well, first of all, you've got to keep your ear to the ground, pay a lot of attention. If there is a figure you're looking for, then you have to be on top of the reissues right away. If they put it up for order, you got to check all the different places that you could possibly order it from to try to snag one up for the reissue price. Reissue price will be higher than the original first run price, and we know that. And they're smaller quantities, so they sell it extremely fast. So that is part of the problem. Again, I've heard the rumor that Quiet as Tea is coming. If that's true, I would love to see a link somewhere, some sort of proof or evidence. I've just heard that rumor actually from about 3 different sources, so maybe it's just one person made it up and passed it all around, but who really knows? If that does come true, then you want to keep an eye out for it and jump on it, because this thing will sell out lightning fast. I was actually surprised when they first announced Quiet as Tea. It took 5 days to sell out, and I counted 5 full days of pre-orders, and then they started selling out. So when this goes up, it might be 5 minutes. And still, that's a big if. Rumor, if. Inevitably, there's going to be the question, well, how come they're not just pulling out 500 more lupus to sell and 500 more spotters to sell? And it's simply because they didn't start this practice. They saw their figures rotting on the shelves, and then they realized they don't want that. Then this goes back to creating a false sense of scarcity, and with that drives the price up. But at the same time, they're offering them again, so I'm okay with it. Would we be okay with it if they did that with Lupus and Spotter? Maybe. But I actually think if we see anything else from Fanstoys for these figures, it will be a 2.0 version, one-upping and bettering them. But it will be way down the road. So a lot of people are asking, will there be a box set with the combiners? And the way Fanstoys is handling the reissues and the way I believe they have quite a bit of extra stock they've held back, I feel like they're holding back stock just for a box set. And it would really make sense and it would be a good idea that they do that. Now, they've already shown that they've reissued Silverbolt and Motormaster. So the leaders got reissued already. They're starting with reissuing Spoiler, and I think they're going to go through and pretty much reissue every one of these bots as they go. That means that they've got them in a warehouse and they're just putting them back out. These aren't other production runs. And then you think about that, that might be a good way to get a box set down the road, but there's no guarantees. So Fanstoys is supposed to start getting back on track with their Smokey. We're expecting to see Spindrift 2.0 coming along soon. They got a lot of great releases coming on the way. What reissues are you excited about? Did you get in on any of these? Are you missing out on them? Are they selling out in the 5 minutes that you're not looking at it? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Tridarium Hanger out.